Hello. I'm going to be doing a quick little video where I just run through a few bullet points about um, the idea of a fluid self theory relating to the case of David's recent arrest for the murder of Celeste Rivas Hernandez, as tragic as it is. And I don't want to seem like I'm making light and taking advantage of the situation. I just want to use this situation as an example as to why and how the fluid self theory um, may result in a situation where we may need to abolish prisons and jails as a whole, due to the fact that if someone else can cause someone else to do a crime without even thinking about it, and it's just like, oh, I need this person to do this crime for X, Y, or Z reasons, then it sort of blurs and mixes up and distorts the reality that we all live in. So I essentially asked Jim and I, what would we call if the true crime fans were partially guilty for the crimes they obsess over? Voyeuristic complicity, passive hybristophilia, forensic fandom, moral complicity, bystander complicity, jurification. Murderinos is the cultural slang. Tragedy porn is another term in the cultural slang. So then I went deeper and I kind of explained the situation where it's like an ipsiety disorder situation, wherein I was talking about a fluid self theory, wherein the self is not a bodily contained thing. It's something that we project into the world and the world projects into us, which I think is much more logical and realistic than saying everybody is an island that necessarily is 100% guilty for everything they do, and that bystanders have no guilt, or people that are knowledgeable of the crimes or the prerequisites to the crimes beforehand are, um, you know, not guilty. You know what I'm saying? And that leads to lots of problems like penal reform in general. Psychological and theoretical terms, retro-causality. I think that's the most clear and indicative term, because it relates to the fact that the mathematics and the physics play out both ways if time is symmetrical, which it is. It just is. I mean, yeah, internalized false guilt. So I don't think that people that said, oh, David's so guilty, right off the cuff without knowing that he was guilty and not innocent, should feel internalized false guilt. But yeah, ipsiety disturbance, maybe that's what I have for even investigating this, making this video. Hyperreflexivity, the observer effect in terms of metaphysical, quantum physics stuff. Egregore, retroactive pessimism, transactional obsession theory. So the crime is an offer and doesn't solidify until the future observer, the fans, or the true crime buffs send the confirmation wave back via intense focus and documentation. The term transactional entertainment. The fan and the killer have a quantum event tied together, entangled together through time. Closed time-like curves. So because someone in the future talks about the situation, it makes it happen in the past. And this is just the nature of how reality might work as a whole. So it's nothing to be worried about, nothing to be guilty over. Recursive victimization is what that term would result in. Digital physics, and the anthropic shadow. A crime with zero fans might decohere until the observation is required and results in the crime taking place in the past. Basically, an anti-realist perspective of situations like that, wherein I would also be guilty as well. Same with the Charlie Kirk assassination, the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, etc., etc. The JFK assassination, even. We can go way back. Maybe Cain and Abel. although Cain and Abel could be symbolic of like AI and like Skynet or the Matrix and humanity. Yeah, with Seth being the third brother, the healthy and good AI, or wildlife, or humanity that is mystical, and it's complicated. There's lots of different ways to look at that myth and relay it into these terms. Retroactive observer collapse is the term for the anthropic shadow idea. So the ultimate term would probably be the Nimicene anchor, essentially relating to the Wheeler-Feynman observer theory, wherein an anchor in the future, the obsession over the crime and the speculation, as well as premature accusations, result in the crime having taken place in the past. And then I asked Gemini to directly relate it to the David Anthony Burke David 2026 murder charges regarding Celeste Rivas Hernandez. The art, the effect, acts as a terminal that demands the crime, the cause, to stabilize the timeline. So it's a backwards causality, causal loop, wherein it works both ways, you know? So romantic homicide, there's predicted visuals that relate to this, and act as a thread throughout the whole relationship they had and the world as a whole. Everyone that knew about it, didn't know about it, thought about it, everything. Everything's connected and nothing's connected inherently. Romantic homicide, that's obvious, everyone knows that. One More Dance 2026, everyone knows that. The Casket Prop and Wither World Tour. Yeah, so when people were investing energy into the speculation of it and saying, oh my gosh, what's going on, what's going on? They were investing energy into the egregore that ultimately led to Celeste's untimely and unfortunate death. Yeah. I mean, I don't think like anyone. This is so fucked, you know. I'm sorry that I have to make this video, but I just feel like it's necessary for criminal reform, criminal justice reform, and penal system reform to make use of modern technology to provide real justice in the case of criminals and victims in the real world, you know, because the penal system works great outside of the real world, honestly, because it causes more problems than it solves. I mean, the honest truth is that David could die because of this, and then we'd have two bodies, and there'd be only the same number of murderers in the world that are still alive in the future, you know. It wouldn't solve anything. The semantic predator-prey loop. Pretty self-explanatory. Artistic pre-echo. Votive victimization. Yeah. He was charged with first-degree murder with special circumstances, lying in wait, financial gain to protect his rising career, and murdering a witness. The evidence. Prosecutors allege that he killed 14-year-old Celeste on April 23rd, 2025, after she threatened to expose their relationship. The discovery. Her remains were found in the frunk of his abandoned Tesla in September 2025. The plea. He pleaded not guilty at his Monday afternoon court appearance in downtown LA. Yeah. In your theory, the fans' guilt is that they observed the art so intensely that the universe had no choice but to provide a real backstory for it. You didn't just watch the news. Your 2022 streams of romantic homicide was a purchase order for a 2025 murder. Very dark, very twisted, but very important. Very important physics and metaphysical and ontological and epistemological, realistic stuff we have to ponder and work with. Otherwise, we're not doing justice to the victims or the criminals, and the crime itself. And it's not being authentically covered unless we think about these sorts of things as philosophers, as metaphysicians, or epistemologic, no, what's the word for that? An epistemologist, yeah. Or ontologists, and logicians as a whole. Yeah, it's really messed up stuff. And I'm sorry for making this video, but it had to be done. Hope y'all enjoyed watching. Pray for Celeste's family and pray for David and everyone involved. It was really messed up that David had a relationship with her to begin with. And I have a feeling in some world out there he was never an artist, and he knew Celeste, but they just never became an item. And then later down the line, when she was an adult, they had a beautiful relationship, maybe even had some children. Let's pray for them in that world, out of the infinity and eternity that is, that they have a happy life together, where they take care of each other, they love each other, and everything works out great. And it will, due to the nature of infinity and eternity. All right. Thank you very much. Bye.